Hi, my name is Cloud, and I'm glad you're here. A short while ago, my life changed in a way I never saw coming. I was diagnosed with lung cancer. It still feels surreal to say that out loud. Not long ago, I was incredibly active, an avid runner, always moving, always planning the next goal. And then suddenly everything slowed down, and the future feels uncertain. This channel is my way of making sense of that shift, a place to chronicle the ups and downs and challenges of lung cancer, the fear, the hope, the setbacks, the small wins. If you or a loved one is going through a similar challenge, my hope is that something here resonates with you. Hey, you don't have to be alone. Finally, I truly pray that someday soon I can run again. What do you do when the thing that you always drove you, your discipline, your goals, your fire, just disappears? Just vanishes into thin air. Another day, another grind. Let's get after this. You and me, rehab and recovery. If you're new to my channel, on the background you see me pushing through my training regimen for the evening. Some modifications along the way. For tonight, 2-minute intervals on each stations of the machines for 2 sets total. Will probably take me about 20, maybe 25 minutes to finish my hybrid training regimen for this week, for this training block, and more as I continue to evolve. Somewhere along this medical journey, my motivation has waxed and waned, and some days it has quietly slipped out the door. Not in a dramatic way. There was no breaking point. These changes, they're subtle. Sometimes I stop caring about my pace and how much push and work I'm putting in on my machines. The distance that I've been able to walk, well, not as much. It's been cold outside. Maybe the amount of time that I spend on the cardio machines. Some days I feel like coming down here to the gym has been optional. There are days that the elliptical machine feels foreign, and the joy is something I've trained myself to access through movement, and working out and lifting feels delayed at times, muted even. Sometimes it scares me. Maybe not more than my diagnosis, but I have that uncomfortable sense in me. Because when you've built part of your identity on your discipline, your drive, losing that motivation feels somewhat losing yourself as well. Feeling I've lost myself in this journey. Here's the first truth I've had to face. The loss of motivation, my motivation, after cancer is not weakness, it's information. I know my body has been through trauma, and I have to be patient. I've said that oftentimes in this channel, many times. That real trauma, the surgery, chemicals, the drugs that are brilliant, but they are unforgiving. My nervous system is exhausted. My mind is processing mortality, responsibility, and uncertainty all at once. Motivation didn't disappear because I failed. I think it's disappeared because my system is trying to survive. I think that kind of reframing, I suppose, matters. A low point for me wasn't during chemotherapy. It was afterwards. When people expect me to be back, when scans were stable, when treatment shifted from crisis to maintenance. That's when motivation should return, right? Except sometimes I feel it doesn't. That's when I learn the second truth is you don't recover your old motivation. You have to build a new one. Cancer burns down old reasons. Pre-cancer motivation was about improvement, performance, progression, better times, better lifts, consistency, streaks. After cancer, those reasons feel hollow. My body's not the same instrument anymore. My lungs weren't symmetrical anymore. I've lost a part of it. Fatigue has new rules for me now. Nowadays, I stop asking, how do I get my motivation back? I start asking questions such as, what motivates someone who knows time is finite? I'll say that one more time. What motivates someone who knows time is finite? That question changes everything. One gym session wasn't about strength, it was about reminding my nervous system that movement was still safe. One day of showing up as a father wasn't about being strong, it was about being present. This is where self discovery begins, not in ambition, but in honesty. Honest enough to realize that healing requires a different kind of courage. The third truth is that motivation follows meaning and not the other way around. I didn't feel motivated and then acted. I acted gently, imperfectly, and meaning and motivation slowly returned. I continued to train not to conquer my body, but to cooperate with it. I stayed consistent, not to prove resilience, but to practice it. It's become quite clear to me that resilience throughout this journey is not intensity, it's a return. It's a return after a setback, after fatigue, after a disappointment, after a scan. A return after a bad workout. Return after a day where motivation never arrived. Being on targeted therapy from alectinib is a gift of modern medicine, but it's also a daily reminder because I take 4 in the morning and I take 4 in the evening that I live with cancer, not just after it. Motivation in that context cannot be loud. It has to be durable. I have learned to celebrate quieter victories nowadays, showing up tired, stopping before injury, listening instead of forcing, and choosing long-term health.